I'm going to hold your hand and mine when I say this, but sometimes we are wrong, and that's okay. Hi, I'm Queen from Sacred Spaces Yoga, and this is Sutra Spotlight, where I walk us through the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So today we are exploring Sutra 1.8. This is where Patanjali teaches that misperception is false knowledge. It's when what we believe to be true doesn't actually correspond with reality. In other words, our minds sometimes create stories that feel completely true, even when they're based on incomplete information or misunderstanding. One of my favorite explanations comes from inside the Yoga Sutras. It says a misperception occurs when the mind misses the point and flows away from or around the truth when drawing conclusions about an occurrence. I resonate with this imagery because it reminds us that our minds doesn't always reject the truth outright. Sometimes it moves around the truth. And when that happens, those false conclusions can become stored in our minds as though they were facts. So let me give you a real example. Recently, I was collaborating with someone on a project, and somewhere between what I thought was clearly communicated and what I had actually been agreed upon, there was a misunderstanding. My first reaction was feeling unappreciated. Then my mind kept going. I started to second guess myself. And before I knew it, I had created an entire narrative that I had ruined this collaboration and maybe even future collaborations as well. Have you ever noticed how quickly the mind can do that? Like one misunderstanding becomes this whole storyline. One difficult moment becomes a prediction about the future. But then I paused. And that is where the yoga happened. It happens in the pause. Instead of immediately believing every thought my mind was offering me, I met those thoughts first with grace, then with curiosity. I asked myself, is this actually true, or is this the story that my mind is creating? That pause created enough space for me to redirect myself back to reality. See, the truth is that I had not ruined everything. There had just been a misunderstanding. Y'all, here's some more truth. Misunderstandings happen. Once I accepted that, the question shifted from what's wrong with me to how do we move forward? And that's the gift of Sutra 1.8. It's not teaching us that our minds will stop jumping to conclusions, because as long as we are human, that will probably happen. But it's reminding us that our first interpretation isn't always the truth. Sometimes it's our mind trying to make sense of an incomplete picture. And the practice of yoga is learning to pause long enough to question the stories that we have created, to ask better questions before we accept our thoughts as truth. Because when we make space between what happened and the story we've told ourselves about what happened, we give truth the opportunity to emerge. Sutra 1.8, misperception is false knowledge, not based on what actually is.